So once we're kind of all done with swapping all of our materials over to Silence Filamented, we're pretty much like good to go on the next few steps. So when swapping over materials, I want to actually show a couple steps which will probably help with that in making sure that you're selecting like textures and all that kind of thing. For example, whilst I was going through some of this, I noticed with our toilet material, like when swapping it over, it would only apply, example, just the albedo and the normal map to the material. However, I also wanted to make sure, like, was I selecting the right textures down here? So annoyingly enough, this is kind of related to something you'll encounter. You should be like, okay, cool. I think this is the albedo for the toilet, whatever. And you're like, okay, I know that's here. If I click on that, it will highlight in yellow. But if I click on this one, suddenly, like, I can't select what I want in the inspector, which is kind of annoying. Yeah, right? So here's what you want to do, actually. So I'm just going to, like, go back to our materials here. Typically, I normally just go back to, I know all the materials are in one place, so I just go to here. There are other ways to go around and navigate. It's just the way I do things. But anyway, so kind of resetting back to like sort of this position here. You can hit the little lock icon up here, which will basically lock like the view here. So I can now like go ahead and select all of this and read the description of what it is down here below, which is kind of really helpful. You can also like if you don't want to like see the menu sort of like this, you can do Control and scroll wheel and zoom out to that way you can actually see like, what the file names are. But personally, I'm a visual person, so I like to see like what they are. And yeah, now I can have a look see and see what they are, and I know where to slot them in. But yeah, so yeah, some of these materials, as you'll notice, will have example like gray, like some of these like greens and weird things like this. So hang on a second, let's have a look through our extra materials here. So yeah, probably when selecting things, you'll probably notice like with this particular asset, there are like these greens, weird texture and stuff. When going through, I found places these in the metallics as best. They do also work in the occlusion. Whether this is the right way of doing this with this type of texture, I am not entirely sure. But this is what I'm finding to find, some, you know, sort of the best looks and what I'm seeing already in the materials. But typically, like most textures that I will probably be showing in the future, typically come from textures.com. Now, let me just show you what this is. Textures.com is a really useful site for getting various different types of textures and also like PBR materials, some models and stuff like this. You pay like a certain amount and you get a bunch of credits and you can use them as much as you want. But example, like say there's this like a wall that I want and I want it to be all these bunch of weird tiles and stuff like this. This is just a tileable texture, which means they just come as a simple image, and then you can make them as big or as small as you want, you know, repeating in a sense. And it comes with a albedo, so its main texture, a height map, so that way it sort of basically moves. It creates an illusion of moving the vertices in and out of where they're actually physically positioned. It also comes with like a normal map, roughness, a metallic map, and ambient occlusion. This helps with sort of like the light map making and also how it looks as well with its reflections and all this kind of thing. And then after that point, but yeah, as you'll notice, these are mostly like black and whites, which typically is mostly what we're going to be using in the future. It's just that the setup for these materials are designed for the shader that was originally there. What we're doing is we're actually swapping these over to Silence Filamented, so that way we can use various different tricks with shaders and also the way we want to do lighting down the future. But if you're just kind of like happy with how the materials look, you can also leave them as the original MGR. That's not a problem as well. This is something for personal and also just for a demo and how I would personally brush up this world. So yeah, let's have a look. See, let's go. Oh, also, now there's a couple of shaders in here referring to things like glass and also to some plant textures. So to be fair, I actually have some really nice shaders that work really nicely with this. So what we're gonna do, actually, we're gonna go to our apartment demo folder here that we made specifically for us. And I'm gonna grab the crispy foliage and the clear water, plus also fake glass. These are all done by Silent. I'll post a link in the description to their GitHub all down below. But essentially, this is just these are really useful shaders. They also come with LCCI and also this kind of functioning as well, and also just really good for frames and memory as well. I don't have a problem with this. I am subscribed to the religion that is Silent shaders. But yes, as we get these things in, we can actually replace some of the water. We can also replace some of the glass, all this kind of thing, and make things just look a little bit nicer, as well as with the foliage, which will help with sort of the plant life and giving it a little bit of movement. So actually, let's sort of have a look-see and give a little demo on what that is. Where is a mystical plant? I'm sure there is one somewhere. You say the plant. Ah, there's a plant. Okay, cool. So, this is why I like Silent's crispy foliage, because like we're gonna click on this plant here. This is this magical plant here. Entry leaves. All right, cool. As you can see, they look nice, all that kind of thing. But I want them to actually move. So what we're gonna do is gonna go to Silent, Filamented, and I'm gonna choose the foliage. All right, cool. So now you can actually see that these leaves sort of actually move. I'm actually gonna like adjust this heavily so, because I don't want them to be too bad. So I'm gonna be like, 12, I'm gonna be 7, and I'm gonna be like 5. That's a little bit too much. 22. Okay, 25. That'll do. All right, cool. A little bit of motion. So basically, like, now that what the shader is doing is it's moving the vertexes, which is, how do I explain this? All right, cool. So basically, what the shader is doing is taking like the mesh, sort of like the actual model itself, and it's creating this illusion of moving those vertices and those polygons. But it's doing it as a shader rather than doing it as either you would with a blend shape or bones animating it, or if it was all individual moving parts. This is a nice, easy, optimized way of doing things, and also like it's nice. Like you just sit things right there. But yeah, playing around with the settings it's a fine art. If the art is around here in whatever these keys are, mess around and find out. I'm not a man. I'm not a wizard. But the really cool thing about this, like I really like the shader, is like you can do really cool things with emission. So actually, you know what? Let's give a little bit of demo on how I would make my glowy plants. So like, okay. So what I would do is I would find out where this texture is. All right, cool. Easy peasy lemon chills. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna go to Photoshop. Let's do this. Not to mention, please take a drink. Please take a drink. Stay hydrated. Don't dehydrate. Why is blowhole blast so amazing? It really is. Why do VTubers taste good? All right, so what we're gonna do is we're now going to just do some simple magic here. All right, cool. So here's my Photoshop. So what I'm gonna do is so I'm gonna put my Photoshop on a different window over here. But what the trick is, I'm gonna go to my Unity. I'm gonna click on this image here, and I'm just gonna drag it literally from Unity straight into Photoshop, like boom, and it will load it up. It will like, there it is, boom, nice and easy, nice and chill, no problems. That's the great thing about Unity. It's really cross-compatible with a lot of applications. It works well with Blender, it works well with Photoshop, Clip Studio, a bunch of applications. So yeah, you want to definitely make sure that you make the best of it. But anyway, we're going to make what we call an emissive map in our Photoshop here using this leaf. And this is the magic that I do. This is great. I'll absolutely love it. So I'm going to create a whole new layer. I'm going to put this underneath, and I'm going to fill this layer completely black. So emissives work with color. Anything black, obviously don't shine. Anything with any color at all will start to glow with that color. If it's white, it will just glow white, and then that way you can apply different shades in Unity afterwards. And you can increase the intensity, how it works, how it all looks, all of that done in a single texture. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm gonna quickly fill this bad boy. Paint bucket, and I'm just gonna go boom right there, easy peasy. Right now what I do is I'm gonna take this is how I do my glowy plants. So if you ever seen my plants and like some of my own maps that I make, this is how I do some of this. We're gonna go, yeah, so I'm just right, oh hi. So what you do is, first things first, I'm gonna go to our exposure. Yay, this is a lot of fun, and I'm gonna make this as a clipping mask, question mark. Yeah, we'll figure it out later on. And I'm just gonna just like increase that bring it up, and then I'm gonna bring this offset way down, and the gamma correction way up. Okay, so now you're starting to see what we're trying to create here. I'm now trying to like force the colors to glow in certain areas. Well, like whatever's black won't glow, but whatever is now go green is glowy. It has like it has a glow to it. So now we can actually like start thinking about like where we want our actual bioluminescence on these plants. So let's. I'm kind of digging this, but at the same time, like I kind of want to. We'll stick with this. This will do. And also on top of this, we're just gonna like add a little bit of like, let's change up the hue and stuff like this. So let's make this hella saturated. Brightness a little bit on the further way down. Get the lilies down as well, and then. Alright, let's go for a signature like purples and blues. We like our purples and blues. Alright, alright, I'll dig with this color. I'll dig with this. Alright, cool. So yeah, I just gotta simply, export. Oh, so to export your textures, here's a really easy way to do things. Like, you can just directly export them directly into Unity. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Show in Explorer, find out where the path is currently in whatever this garbage is. I'll just copy this. And then when I'm simply exporting the texture itself, it's going to be going to exactly that path now, and it's going to just be called Leaf 03 EM because it's an emissive texture. It should be good now, and now I'm just going to simply click back into Unity, and there it is. There's what we were looking for. And now we can just simply apply some of our magic. So we have the emission map. This is what we were looking for. I'm going to pop it there, and increase. Yep, we're all good. That's our color. Emission strength. I'm just gonna stick that as like a 2. And look at that. We got some funky bioluminescence, yo. Look at that. Look at that. That's pretty. That's pretty. Ain't it just? And yeah, that's essentially like how I kind of do most of my bioluminescent plants. It's just a quick couple tweaks in Photoshop. Anybody can do it. And I hope you have a lot of fun with it. Whilst you're exploring your own ways. Alright, cool. I feel like I could stick some funky fucking shaders. Alright, this is where you can start like exploring some really cool stuff. So like, we'll have a lot of fun with this. Alright, let's carry on. Where were we? Oh yeah, fucking props. I realized there were more materials that I hung collect yet. Oh, I'll get on to it, so I'm sorry. To be fair, I feel like it is like most of these. So I found like in this one the like some of these extra materials that I found here. These were mostly just standard, which is okay. Standard in Unity is pretty okay, but it is filled with a bunch of stuff that is unnecessary. So the reason why we pick other standards such as silence, orals, or moti standards, it has a lot less memory in it. It's a lot more optimized, and for some reason it has a lot more options that you can use directly already. It's more based for like people who are getting in and actually doing the coders for shaders and stuff like this. But for us, we're gonna stick with our silent filamented roughness setup. Most of these, because they're using mostly metallics, roughness setups, and all this kind of thing. Oh yeah, fun things as well. If you're ever like, you're not entirely sure how you like the surface of something, you can always change how it looks by adjusting, it has a metallic or roughness map. You can remove these and you can adjust how they look as well, using the sliders here. Normal maps, you can bump them up ever so slightly, but you don't want to do it too much, otherwise things get a little bit crunchy, especially when you do compression later on. But that's mostly it. Like, yeah, you can have a lot of fun with these. All right, so whilst we're getting into this, we're now going to do a couple of shader swaps as well, with our standard glass. So I'm going to swap this as well. So I'm going to swap this to our silent filamented fake glass. Why this is fake, I do not know. I don't know why it's fake. I don't know why we call it fake glass. It's just glass that exists. But anyway, oh, it's this window door thingy here. Okay, understandable. Have a great day. Have a fantastic day. All right, cool. I like the color. I like the color diffuse. I really do. All right, well, good. All right, so whilst exploring things, you may ever so slightly encounter a moment where you encounter magenta. Leave it, it's amazing color. No, but seriously, so what this is basically a problem where we haven't included a shader into our project. Now I do realize, like, I did start this project without loading some of its like base dependencies or its requirements, because I wanted to just simply open this package and run through the real basics, just in case you enter some of these problems yourself. We intentionally make scuff, so we have to fix it, so we actually learn things, so we teach it. This is how I learned how to world build. Everything I make is scuffed for a reason. I learn. Anyway, but yeah, as you can see, our water is pink, which is lovely, but we want it to be water. We can make pink water though. So let's make our pink water. So what this is, it's an internal problem. It's basically like, so it's choosing magenta. And this is, okay, this is where you kind of get into weird, like, science. The color magenta actually means you don't understand. Like, it's actually a part of, like, the human brain where it doesn't actually understand the color, or, like, it doesn't perceive or understand the wavelength of lights that it's receiving into the brain. Or there's something weird with it. But basically, the brain doesn't understand, and it kind of goes, we're just gonna make this magenta. Which is really cool. So essentially in Unity, it kind of does the same thing. Everything just turns into magenta if it kind of goes, well, we don't know what this is because it doesn't exist, so it's magenta now. Anyway, but we're gonna swap this over to our silent water, and I'm gonna choose our clear water normal. Refracted. Cancellation. Okay, cool. So, essentially, or essentially what we can do as well is we can actually simply go to Silent's own folder as well, and we can grab the material and drag that onto the render as well. So that way you have a bunch of settings all pretty much set up for you, as well as like the normal maps and all this kind of thing as well. What's really nice as well is that you'll probably notice that like when you did that as well, if you have done this well, you still won't see anything. The reason being is that there is a depth buffer issue, or basically the water isn't rendering because it requires what we just call a depth buffer. Now for Quest, you can't have a depth. Basically a depth buffer is like having a real-time light, which allows. So one of the really best ways to sort of explain how a depth buffer really works is that in Unity, sort of like depth buffer, also sort of like known as like the Z buffer, basically the thing that tells it like sort of goes up and down, is kind of like a part of the rendering process that helps. It kind of helps create like a sense of depth and realism in the 3D space, sort of 3D scene. And explaining how it kind of works can be sort of broken down by like, and kind of how it works is sort of like, all right, hang on there. Yeah, so kind of like the concept of depth is like in a 3D scene, objects appear smaller and farther away as they move into the distance. So obviously, like the depth buffer helps manage that depth information of each pixel rendered on the screen. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's like literally just helping like gauge. It basically, it kind of like helps gauge that exact distance and tells the engine on how that's being rendered. I think that's how it's explained. I think this is. I think I'm correct here. But yeah, Z buffers. But yeah, essentially, like, yeah, like the depth buffer and the Z buffer itself helps sort of like gauge actual distance, and water and sometimes like transparencies and like certain shaders and materials will require this, so you'll have to have a real-time light in your scene. I'll show you how to set one up that's really optimized in a really nice way. So yeah, we can get into that, no problem. All right, so whilst kind of going through a lot of these materials, you'll probably find like as you're adjusting things, some of these things might get a little like too shiny in a way. So we can always just like adjust this simply by putting out a slider, moving that, and we're good. And now this one is actually quite nice. Look at that! Look at that! It's looking lovely, looking like it's supposed to. This wall's a little bit, you know, too shiny as well. No, here's the thing. So sometimes you might actually like have a material which looks really nice like this in the editor in your Unity. But when you go into VR, this is going to look really weird, and you might actually get what we call artifacting. There's like a lot of flashing and all kind of things. So we're just going to quickly like adjust this a little bit more, just like kind of a little bit on the more rougher side. There we are. And that should be nice. You can always just go through and just like adjust things, make things less shinier if necessary. You'll probably find a lot of this, like, shininess you'll adjust as you go through, especially like reflections and all this kind of thing. Right now, we don't really have a lot of that, so let's go through and see what we can get on and get going. All right, okay. So right now, we're pretty much at a point where it's a nice, we're at a nice point. What I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna start adding in some other assets and stuff like that, which we do have. If I go to our apartment demo, I kind of actually want a nice like little sky shader. Now, a sky shader that I always recommend is probably the beautiful sky shader made by RedSim. You can subscribe to their Patreon. You get a bunch of really cool stuff like this. But this is just it's a nice little thing. Let's add this in. That's sweet. This is cool. All right, so yeah, we're gonna simply change the skybox. I'm gonna use RedSims here. So really nice, easy way to do any skybox, in full honesty, is to click on the lighting and to change out the skybox by clicking on this little tab here. Typically, like you can have, you can find a bunch of really cool skyboxes out there. Some for free. Some in the asset store and all this kind of thing. I'll show you. We'll probably have a look-see how all that works as well, because we gotta get bakery and all that kind of stuff in. But yeah, this is really nice. But I really want a nice one, so I'm gonna search up sky. There it is. And yeah, when you click on any of these, it'll change out the like how the default skybox itself looks. But we want this one because it has all this cool stuff. All right. So. First thing first, I'm gonna click on this. I'm gonna click on material here. I'm going to go to inspector, click on there, and boom. Okay, cool. And typically, usually, like I like it like nighttime-ish, because I'm like that. So we're gonna do nighttime. Really easy way to do this is there's a couple ways to do this. One, auto light detection, which detects where the real-time light direction is coming from. Or you can just simply do this on a manual basis. I'm just gonna set this to like 0, 0, and 0, because it's annoying. And I'm just gonna set this to like 0 and where's the sun? Where is the sun right now? It's doing a thing. Where are you? You're doing a thing. Where are you? ¿Dónde estás? I want some, yeah, just a little bit of glow over there. That'll be nice. Nice little glow over there in the distance. And if we can always like add some like nice little glows, lighting, and all this kind of stuff later on down the line. If you want, you could. All right, here's some bullshit. Let's do some bullshit here. Because obviously, like this is nice and all, but like how do we do this? How's the best way? Because what I'm thinking is like normally like I'd put like some buildings and stuff out here, but like I'd also have to think about like how they're going to dissipate into the bottom, all kind of thing. We're going to make a texture, maybe. Approximate. I'll figure it later. We'll think it. We'll put it in the brain cell later on. It's a nice to have, not a need to have right now. But essentially, yeah. And you probably notice like it changes like the lighting as well, is because like the reflections right now are kind of based mostly on what the skybox kind of is looking like, which is okay, but it's like it's not necessary for what we're going to be doing. We're going to be baking all this lighting in, but to do that, we're going to need what we call bakery. Now normally I'm not expecting all of you to have this asset, but I'm expecting y'all to have this asset. Essentially bakery, it's an amazing tool. How do I explain this? A bakery itself uses sort of like your graphic card rather than your central your CPU. It mostly uses your graphics cards to do all of its baking, which is really nice, especially if I have like a strong card. I currently have a 3060 Ti or 37 Ti, and it can do some solid baking. But also it does things really nicely, especially with like mono stage. Certain shaders work really well with this, and a lot of programs with VRChat typically use bakery for how they do their things. Example, LTCGI uses bakery, so this is kind of one of those like as you get along with game dev, you'll probably likely get yourself bakery. So anyway, I'm making sure I'm recording. Cool, good. So let's have a look see here. Cool. So I'm gonna go to my assets here, and we're going to bakery. Here we are. So bakery, it is currently on sale. This thing goes on sale all the time. You can also have a look at Humble Bundle as well. I'll try and post some of those links down below as well. And you can get a bunch of this sort of stuff like on really good deals. But like generally this is one of those kind of must-haves when you get into world development. As free as it is, you can do this with general like on the with the lighting in Unity. But typically you want to use bakery. Just kind of putting it out there. Please, thank you very much. It's not sponsored, by the way. I'm just kind of this tool that I use all the time. But anyway, we're just gonna import this thing. All right, so now we have bakery installed. You probably also like eventually got like a window that popped up over here that said TMP Essentials. Yeah, just click all this as well. So essentially what we're now gonna do is we're gonna do another annoying process of getting all of our assets and stuff squared in for essentially sort of our gimmicks, because you're now at a point where this world, it already has a bunch of stuff already in it. It has a bunch of gimmicks and it is functional. You could just upload this to your VRChat account, which we'll probably go to, and you might want to skip over to at some point the link description somewhere. So, what do you think I know? I think I know YouTube. Anyway, but yeah, you can skip ahead and go to the VRChat upload point at this point if you wanted to. But if you haven't baked or done your lighting or stuff like this, which we could also skip to these points as well. Hopefully at some point. Maybe I'm pointing to nothing. Future Lily, please, I don't know, make fun of how I am. But yeah, So we'll go through all that, but right now, actually, kind of, I want to get all of our gimmicks and stuff in that we like want to like have in, so that's all baked in at this point as well. So let's have a toy around. Let's play around with some of the cool stuff that we got going on. All right, so like this is an apartment. All right, so it's a nice little like cozy little housey apartment type situation. Right, let's do a quick little thing. Let's see if our entire existence works. So let's do this. Where's your world? Where are you? You're currently here. All right. I'm gonna pray to God that this works. I'm just gonna hit this play button. Now, hopefully at this point, if the play button works, you're good. We're gonna find out. Hey, we're good. All right. So typically, normally you would have what we call Clan Sim, and this is a basically a simulator for VRChat, developed by Cyan Laser, and is part of the VRChat recording companion. But yeah, you're now like walking around. You can have like little walkthroughs, test rounds in your worlds, all this kind of stuff as well, which is quite nice. Nothing really in here. We're all good. All right, cool, nice. Thank you very much. Nothing really in here, and I can't really go in here. All right, so we're figuring out like at this point we're encountering like bugs can't really go through certain things, so we can add like some mesh colliders or move things around or stuff like that. But yeah, typically it's all pretty looking okay. We're all fine. Yeah, let's have a look-sees. But we now know like the world itself at this point would go into VRChat. It would upload and work. But you know what? I'm not entirely sure why these doors itself don't work. I don't know if they do work inside the client editor itself or not. Let's have a click on look-sees and see what we got. Door entrance, door frame, interact one. What are you? Okay. Okay, so it's missing a pref. It's okay, so it is missing some udon script. So let's have a look. See what's going on. So I'm gonna have a quickly look at our actual. All right, so essentially what we're doing now is we're now encountering problems with the world, which means we've never actually had certain prefabs brought in. As you can see, Iowa Sync and all this kind of thing, as well as there's no udon scripts and all this kind of thing. We're encountering some issues. Why is that? Well, that's because we didn't read the instructions, ladies and gents. So in this documentation, in the file that when you extract everything, it'll come with a how to introduce, which will open up your browser. And it'll give you everything necessary. It'll basically sort of give you all the necessary stuff that you need to download, such as the Udon Toolkit. Ignore the Udon Sharp. Ignore these two. They're pointless. But Udon Toolkit, the Iowa Sync, and maybe the Crystal Water effects if you want to. Necessarily, this is done by Sumu. This is really nice, by the way. Just don't get me wrong. But we're currently using silence because reasons. Just literally reasons. But essentially, yeah, we want to be getting all of this as well as Udon Toolkit. This is probably the big one here, so let's grab this one quickly. So just quickly download this one. And just literally double click it. So Udon packages like this, you just double click when you have the project open. Now, if you have two projects open, careful, make sure that you have the one that you want to import, the last one you clicked on. You can do this with multiple projects open. It's just you gotta be nitpicky with where you click it. Yeah. But that's like my level of like Unity. You don't have to worry about it. But anyway, import this stuff, and you probably notice like a bunch of things will start working again. So let's import this one package. Now, if you did this at the very beginning, which you should have, you wouldn't encounter these problems. But this is kind of one of those situations where I'm now kind of like going through things and encountering issues, which I'm telling you ways to think and get around these problems when you do encounter them, because it does happen quite a lot. So don't get me wrong. Alrighty, so now we're good here. Let's have a look, see what we got. Everything should be fine. Let's do a quick clear. Everything's all fine here. We're also gonna do the Iowa sync as well, because like I suspect like having the Iowa sync not in this is creating a bunch of problems with the. So this is what I was talking about earlier on, with how Udon thinks, how Unity thinks in alphabetical order. At the moment, some of these problems, like the Udon's behaviors programs, aren't being brought in or fixed because Iowa sync is broken. So Orels, so this is a thing done by Orels. So it's looking at Orels as folders, and also in Udon tools. So that's happening way after Iowa sync. So let's fix this problem here. Let's also, so this is where like you may do one thing and you think it's gonna fix, but it isn't because you have something already broken previously. So let's have a look-see here, shall we? Alright, and essentially what we're just gonna do, I'm just gonna import all of these packages because I really don't know what's problem. So we're just gonna import everything. And it's probably just gonna fetch a bunch of problems like in this package. And then after that, we can then change. So essentially what this is, I think this is for the button switches as well as the video player. So these are stuff we're probably gonna swap out personally. Just because I want to. I'm going to. You fight me. Just for like some of the gimmicks and stuff that we're sort of implementing it. But when you have broken prefabs and broken like files and stuff like this, it can become a problem down the line and stop other things working when they really should. So always think alphabetically when you're like, okay, why is this thing not working when you think it should be? And you're like, oh, it's because this. A bunch of things happen with like the VRChat SDK where you said like, why is this not working? Oh, it's because Bakery is doing something. You fix the late Bakery and it's like, oh, everything works now. Okay, wild. Alright, and we should now be pretty good. As you can see now, we can actually see these scripts and stuff like that, like already placed in here. From this door and make sure that maybe like the interact is probably good. I don't know if it is. We'll find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. So let's. Alright, well let's hit this button. If the doors don't work, to be fair, we could just remove the collider. It's not a problem at the end of the day. It's probably just an interact issue with either the way that we've imported things or that how VRChat is uploaded. Sometimes you'll encounter some of these issues and you may have to make little sacrifices. I am just stupid. But I'll show you how to get around a bunch of these problems and stuff like that. But yeah, as I can see, there is no like interact, or I can't do anything. Let me out! I'm stuck inside this box. Okay, right, fine. Alright, fine. We'll work around this. We'll make the workaround, which is remove the fucking door. But essentially, okay, so like this is a Japanese thing, and like no discredit to like the Japanese and how they do their things. The JP door design typically is you click and you teleport to the other side. Now this is cute, and like some people like prefer that design. It's quite nice. I like to be personally immersed, so teleporting directly to like going to black and then teleporting like behind the door is kind of weird, and it breaks me for the VR user. So I like to either just walk through the door or open the door. Here we're just gonna choose to have the door. Well, basically just walk through. We might actually like we might rotate it. We might rotate it. All right, let's do the rotaty potato. All right, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just. All right. Oh yeah. If you want to know how to rotate stuff, all right. Here's a little UI tip. So like here, like if I want to rotate things, but like I want it to be perfectly 90 or something like that, you can hold Control and then move, and it'll move in like little segments. So like here and now can be sure, yeah, 5. That's like, you know, that is perfectly 90. And then I can move things around. You can also do like that as well with the motion as well. So it moves like in small little increments. So you can just sort of measure stuff as you're doing things, which is quite nice. But yeah. And also Control Z goes backwards. Control Y goes forwards. There's no Control Shift Z for some fucking weird reason. But yeah, that's just the toilet, so I'm gonna leave that fucking thing closed, actually. But yeah, I'm just gonna remove the collider pretty much on all of this, cause I don't need Joe colliders. What is this? Yeah, absolutely. We're leaving the collider off the back door. Yes, please just let him walk off. Oh, that'd be amazing. All right, you come here. All right, turn you off. So here's the thing. So where I'm clicking here, I'm currently clicking both, this is inside the game object. So when you click on the thing, that is a game object. This is the game object stuff. You can turn the game object off by clicking this button here, but that turns off the whole thing and everything underneath it in the hierarchy. But you can also go inside the game object and add elements such as like colliders, you can add scripts, you can add a bunch of really cool stuff, materials, all that kind of thing. But here, I'm just turning off the box collider, but I want the mesh to still be there. So here, there's a box collider there. I'm gonna go into the interact here. I'm just gonna actually turn these off because these are kind of useless for me. But yeah, there we are. We're still keeping the mesh and the door frame and everything like that. So you can just walk through. Just have fun with it. All right. Also remember to control save because you never know when your power might go out for some reason. But yeah, essentially what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go through most of these doors. I'm just gonna remove these scripts because I'm a bitch like this. I'll just remove this and remove boom, boom, boom. And this is just personal choice. It's just personal choice. I just want to turn these motherfuckers off. No, you do something. There's something special there. It does something magical. I'm just guessing somewhere. But we're good. But yeah, so now we have like our video player and all kinds of things. So this is the Japanese favorite video player, I would think. Which is nice, don't get me wrong. It is very lovely, but I personally like to use Teknon's Pro TV because it works with LTCGI. We're doing this LTCGI and also works well with like audio and all that thing. It's really nice, and I can play around with the textures and materials and stuff like this. So let's mess around with this stuff, shall we? But yeah, let's now kind of like think about so we got like our bakery in, but we don't want to do a light bake just yet. So let's think about our gimmicks and stuff like that and funky stuff. All right, so I've been talking about LTCGI for a long ass time, and there's a way to get this in. And currently, you can either get that through the as demonstrated earlier on. We had an issue where trying to get that in with the VRChat Creative Companion. That might be because I'm out of date on the application. That's fine. But there is another workaround around this. Don't get me wrong. There's always a workaround with this stuff. These VRChat people, these people are crazy when it comes to thinking stuff out. Here it is. So we're at the thing. This is their VCC. But also at the same time, you get this as a GitHub package for standalone Unity. So I'm gonna quickly grab this. I'm gonna grab this link. Just quickly pop this. So here's the instruction for this. It's only from GitHub URL. So we're gonna go on to our package manager in our project. So quickly hop into here. So we're gonna hop into our package manager. So let's click on window, click on new. It's gonna open up this motherfucking window, and as followed by our lovely instructions, we're gonna hit this lovely little plus button and go to add package from Git URL. That's Photoshop. You don't ask for it. So go to hit this drop down menu, add package from Git URL. I'm gonna Control V. That's the Pi one, and then add. And that should pretty much, add the button, add the thing, and then we should be good. Yeah, we're good. We're in. And here, yeah, we're all good. It's now importing everything as necessary. It's all nice. Again, this is mostly just world building. Just sat here waiting for things to import. Oh yeah, weirdly enough, okay, so here's something really annoying. If you want Unity to work faster, you have to have it like active, like clicked on. So if you're like, if you want to be watching Netflix whilst you're watching Bake or something like that, go to Netflix, watch this off, but like put it in a separate window, and then just like make sure you have a Unity itself actually open and clicked on. It'll work a lot faster for some stupid reason. Yes, cat, that's a fly. She's never, she's like, she's gonna get this little buzzy fly.